Welcome to economics classes. In our previous class, we were learning about organization of data. In that part, we have learned about introduction, what is organization of data, and how we are classifying the data, what is raw data, and how we are classifying the data, what are the types of classification of data, and types of variables. Now, we are going to learn about frequency distribution. What is frequency distribution? ಆವೃತ್ತಿ ವಿತರಣೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಇವತ್ತಿನ ತರಗತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್. ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್. Then, what is frequency? ಆವೃತ್ತಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಏನು? Frequency refers to how many times the value is repeated. Frequency refers to how many times the value is repeated. ಆವೃತ್ತಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಾರಿ ಮೌಲ್ಯ ಪುನರಾವರ್ತನೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಎಂದು ತಿಳಿಸುವುದಾಗಿದೆ. Then, what is frequency distribution? Frequency distribution is a method of classifying the raw data of a quantitative variable, and it shows how different values of a variables are distributed in different classes along with their class frequencies. In a previous class, I have shown the marks list of 100 students, how much they have scored in a raw data, in a raw form. You have already seen the list of the marks in a table. So, the same thing, if we classified that raw data into classes, then here from 30 to 40, 10 members. Here, marks from 30 to 40 obtained by 10 students, and marks 40 to 50 obtained by 15 students, and 50 to 60 marks obtained by 40 students, and 60 to 70 marks obtained by 45 students. Likewise, if we classify that raw data, we can show in a systematic table. And here, what is class frequency? Class frequency in the sense here, class is 30 to 40. In this 30 to 40, class frequency is 10. Here frequency is mentioned here, class is mentioned here. 30 to 40 frequency is 10. 40 to 50 frequency is 15. ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು ವರ್ಗ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಗ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಆವೃತ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಆವೃತ್ತಿ, ವರ್ಗ ಆವೃತ್ತಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಗದಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಮೌಲ್ಯದ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂಥ ಮೌಲ್ಯದ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ 10 ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅಂದರೆ 10 ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು 30ರಿಂದ 40 ಅಂಕಗಳನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸಬಹುದು. ಹಿಯರ್ ಈಚ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಈಸ್ ಬೌಂಡೆಡ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ಸ್. ಹಿಯರ್ this frequency value is bounded with the class limits. Here, what is class limit? Here 30 and 40 are the class limits. Here 40 and 50 are the class limits. Here 50 and 60 are the class limits. 60 and 70 are the class limits. It means two ends of the class is class limit. Which one is upper limit and which one is lower limit, that we need to identify now. In this class 30 is the lower limit and 40 is the upper class limit, and here 40 is the lower class limit and 50 is the upper class limit. Here 50 is the lower class limit, 60 is the upper class limit, and here 60 is the lower class limit and 70 is the upper class limit. Then we need to find out the class mark or midpoint. What is midpoint and how to find out the midpoint? Class mark is the middle value of the class. What is the middle value here? 30 and 40 in between. Which one is the middle value? Middle value is 35. How to find out the middle value? Here we can easily identify the middle value in between 30 and 40. While finding class midpoint, we are using a formula, class mark is equal to upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. While finding class mark or class midpoint, using the formula upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. By using that formula here, 40 plus 30 divided by 2 is equal to 35. 50 plus 40 divided by 2 is equal to 45. Here 60 plus 50 divided by 2 is equal to 55. Here 60 and 70 are there. 70 plus 60 divided by 2 is equal to 65. So likewise we can find out the mid value of the class. Here in 30 and 40 mid value is 35, and here mid value is 45, and here mid value is 55, here mid value is 65. So, and difference between the upper limit and lower limit of the class is called as class width. Here, what is class width here? 30 and 40. In between, the difference is 10. So, class width is 10 here. So, class width refers to difference between upper limit and lower limit of the class. This is also called as size of the class interval. So, if you want to show this frequency distribution in a diagrammatical representation, we can show like this. This OX axis and this OY axis. While showing this frequency distribution in the diagrammatical representation, we are using class midpoints here. Class midpoint is 35, 45, 55 and 65. We are using that class midpoints here 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 and 70. OX axis shows class mark or class midpoints, and OY axis shows the frequency. Here, first one, 35 we can find out here. Frequency is 10 and class midpoint is 35. So, frequency is 10 and class midpoint is 35. 35 around here. We can mark here. And next one, class midpoint is 45, frequency is 15. So 50 and 45 we need to identify in this graph. And next one is class midpoint is 55 and frequency is 40. Frequency is 40. Then we need to mark here. 55 is here and 40. And next class midpoint is 65 and frequency is 45. Then we can draw a line which is joining all these points. This line shows the frequency distribution. This is what the diagrammatical representation of frequency distribution. ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳೋದಾದರೆ ಇದನ್ನು ವರ್ಗ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ಇದನ್ನು ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಅಥವಾ ಆವೃತ್ತಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ಇದನ್ನು ವರ್ಗಾಂತರ ಕೆಳಮಿತಿ, ವರ್ಗದ ಕೆಳಮಿತಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ಲೋವರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ವರ್ಗದ ಮೇಲ್ಮಿತಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಇದನ್ನು ವರ್ಗ ಮಧ್ಯದ ಬಿಂದು, ವರ್ಗದ ಮಧ್ಯಬಿಂದು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಯುವಂಥ ಸೂತ್ರ ವರ್ಗ ಮಧ್ಯಬಿಂದು ಇಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ವರ್ಗದ ಮೇಲ್ಮಿತಿ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ವರ್ಗದ ಕೆಳಮಿತಿ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಬೈ 2. ಇಲ್ಲಿ 30ರಿಂದ 40 ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ವರ್ಗ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ಮೇಲ್ಮಿತಿ ಯಾವುದು ಕೆಳಮಿತಿ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 30 ವರ್ಗದ ಕೆಳಮಿತಿಯಾಗಿದೆ, 40 ವರ್ಗದ ಮೇಲ್ಮಿತಿಯಾಗಿದೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದೇವೆ 30 ವರ್ಗದ ಕೆಳಮಿತಿ, 40 ವರ್ಗದ ಮೇಲ್ಮಿತಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಮಧ್ಯಬಿಂದು ಈ 30, 40 ಎರಡನ್ನು ಸೇರಿಸಿ ಅದನ್ನು 2ರಿಂದ ಭಾಗಿಸಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ವರ್ಗದ ಮಧ್ಯಬಿಂದು ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. 30 ಮತ್ತು 40ರ ಮಧ್ಯಬಿಂದು 35 ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ಮುಂದಿನ ಎಲ್ಲ ವರ್ಗ ಮಿತಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅದೇ ವಿಧಾನವನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಿ ವರ್ಗ ಮಧ್ಯಬಿಂದುವನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ಟು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್. ಹೌ ಟು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್. ನಾವು ಈ ಆವೃತ್ತಿ ವಿತರಣೆಯನ್ನು ತಯಾರಿಸುವುದು ಹೇಗೆ? ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಈ ಆವೃತ್ತಿ ವಿತರಣೆಯನ್ನು ತಯಾರಿಸುವಾಗ 4 ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅಂಶಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಗಮನವಿಡಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅವು ಯಾವುವು ಅಂದರೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್. ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಗಗಳ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಎಷ್ಟಿರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬಹುಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿದೆ. ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ 5 to 15. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಸೈಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವಲ್ಸ್. ಸೈಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವಲ್ಸ್. ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಗದ ಗಾತ್ರ ಎಷ್ಟಿರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಟರ್ಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ಸ್. ಡಿಟರ್ಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ class limits. And next one is finding frequency for each class. These 4 are the steps involving in preparation of frequency distribution. First one is number of classes. In the first step, you need to find the range. How to find the range? The range is the difference between largest and smallest value of the variable. Largest and the smallest value of the variable. In the previous example, we have taken the marks list of 100 students. In that, minimum value is 0 and maximum value is 100. So, while finding the range, we are using the formula R is equal to L minus S. What is L and what is L? L is the largest item and S is the smallest item. Largest item minus smallest item is equal to the range. The value of a range is given. We can decide the class intervals. In the sense, the range is 0 to 100. Then we can make a class intervals 5. If we make class interval 5, 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, likewise we need to continue. So if we have taken the class intervals 10, then 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, up to 100 if we have taken, then there will be a 10 steps. If you have taken a small class intervals like 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, then frequency distribution would look too large. Such distributions are not easy to handle, so that we can take large class intervals like 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, likewise. If you have taken small numbers, it will become more number of classes. So it's better to choose large class intervals, so it's easy to handle. Normally, it's always better to have classes between 5 to 15. 5 to 15 classes, it's better to have. In previous example, in previous table, we have taken class interval 10. So 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, like that we have taken. Likewise, while preparing frequency distribution, it's important to decide the number of classes. Number of classes normally 5ರಿಂದ 15 ಇರೋದು ಉತ್ತಮ. What should be the size of each class? Size of class intervals. ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಗದ ಗಾತ್ರ ಎಷ್ಟಿರಬೇಕು? When the range of the variable is given, we can determine the number of classes once we decide the size of the class intervals. Similarly, we can determine the size of the class. Determine the size of the class interval once we decide the classes. For example, the range is 100 and classes are 10. Range is 100 and number of classes are 10. Here R is range, K is number of classes are 10. Then how to find out the class interval? Here there is a small formula, R divided by K is equal to class interval. It's understood that the class size is 10. This is how determine the size of the class interval in frequency distribution. Next one is determination of class limit. How should we determine the class limit? ವರ್ಗ ಮಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ನಿರ್ಧರಿಸುವುದು? When we add the class interval to the lower class limit, we get the upper class limit. For example, upper class limit of the class 30, 40 is 40 is the upper class limit. For example, if you have taken the class limit 30, 40 here, upper class limit is 40 and lower class limit is 30. This class intervals are of two types. There are two types in class intervals. First one is exclusive method, exclusive class intervals, and second one is inclusive class intervals. What is exclusive class interval and what is inclusive class intervals? Here, in exclusive class intervals, we are taking the class intervals like 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. Likewise, we are taking in exclusive class intervals. In inclusive class intervals, we are taking values like 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40. You can identify the difference between exclusive class intervals and inclusive class intervals. Here in exclusive class intervals, here upper class limit of the first class and lower class limit of the second class are same, 10 and 10 you can find here, right? Upper class limit of the first class and lower class limit of the second class are same, but in inclusive class intervals both are different here. Upper class limit of first class and lower class limit of second class are not same here. We are considering 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40 likewise. So this is the main difference between the exclusive class interval and inclusive class intervals. If we have continuous variables instead of discrete variables, if we have continuous variables, which form of class intervals are most suitable or most appropriate, that we need to identify here. So in the case of continuous variables like height and weight, here intervals may be defined as 30 kg to 39.999 kg. For 40 kg to 40 kg to 49.999 kg. 50 kg to 59.999 kg. Likewise, we are showing these class limits are understood as 30 to 40 kg, 40 to 50 kg, 50 to 60 kg. Likewise, values continuous variable ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನಾವು ಈ ರೀತಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಸೂಚಿಸ್ತೇವೆ. 30 to 40 kgs ಅಂತ ಬರೆಯೋ ಬದಲು 30 to 39.999 kgs ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು ತೋರಿಸ್ತೇವೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ವರ್ಗಾಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊಂದಾಣಿಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವಲ್ಸ್. ವರ್ಗಾಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊಂದಾಣಿಕೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಏನು? ವರ್ಗಾಂತರದ ಹೊಂದಾಣಿಕೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ವರ್ಗದ ಕೆಳಮಿತಿ ಹಾಗೂ ವರ್ಗದ ಹಿಂದಿನ ವರ್ಗದ ಮೇಲ್ಮಿತಿಯ ಸರಾಸರಿಯಾಗಿರುತ್ತದೆ. ಇಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದ second lower limit and first upper limit of the class. For example, here are the classes 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59. Here you can find the difference between the upper limit of the first interval and lower limit of the second interval. The difference is 1. 40 minus 39 is 1. So difference between the upper limit of the first interval, first class, and lower limit of the second class. So how to adjust this difference? Adjustment in class intervals. A close observation in inclusive method. For example, if we want to show the continuous variables like income of the households. Here, in an example of inclusive method, we are showing the class like 10 to 19, 22, 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59. In this, there is a difference between the upper limit of the first class and lower limit of the second class. Here, lower limit of the second class is 20 and upper limit of the first class is 19. So, there is a difference of one value. How to adjust this class interval? Here, the difference is divided by 2. Means here, the difference is 1. This 1 should be divided by 2. Then the value is 0.5. So, adjusted value of class interval is 0.5. After this adjustment, we can write this class as 10.5 to 19.5 and 20.5 to 29.5 and 30.5 to 39.5 and 40.5 to 49.5, 50.5 to 59.5. Likewise, we can show the adjustment in class intervals. These are all for today, and in next class we will continue with finding frequency by tally marking. Thank you.